Okay, so we're going to get started on the 5 steps to successful real estate investment. And good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mark Boitano. I've been in the real estate business for 20 some odd years, 22, 23 years. I've probably sold about 1,000 homes, and my wife and I have bought, flipped, bought, hold, and sold maybe 14 investment properties. But the good news for a lot of you younger folks, how many of you are 50 and under? How many of you are 40 and under? How many of you are 30 and under? Okay, so we actually bought our first investment property when I was 50 years old. So when we were your age, we weren't even thinking about any of this stuff. You know, one of the things Paul Stephan talked about, I think that was really interesting, is a window of opportunity that exists for younger folks. You guys, you know, you may not be thinking about investing right now, but there's this window of opportunity when you're young, when you're single, or when you're a couple without children. There's this window of opportunity both in the stock market and in real estate to make some financial decisions that will benefit you as you get older. So I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. You're thinking, you know, this guy, you know, he's from Albuquerque. What does he know about real estate in California? And by the way, Albuquerque, Bloomberg said Albuquerque is one of the 5 coolest cities in America. So I have to put in that plug for Albuquerque. But, you know, this is actually my family home. This is me when I was a little kid. This is my mom, this is me and my sisters. And this is a picture of a little teeny agricultural community called Sunnyvale, California, where I was raised. And I remember my cousins, when I was a kid, my cousins who lived in San Francisco used to bitch and complain about having to go visit the cousins who lived in the country. They were like in a farm town. So this was Sunnyvale, California, 1958, way, way, way out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, when I was a kid, you know, we went into the orchards, picked cherries. The farmers would chase us with their shotguns that had salt in it. Well, this family home is now in the heart of the Silicon Valley. And the new Apple campus that they're building, the Spaceship Apple campus, is 3 blocks from this neighborhood that I was raised in. And the homes in this neighborhood right now sell for over $1 million. So in Sunnyvale, California, you know, back in 1958, you could buy a house for $17,950. Now that same house is worth $1 million. That's what you get in Sunnyvale. What you get in Albuquerque for $1 million is something like this: 7,200 square foot, an acre, a pool, 1,600 square foot master suite. It's amazing. So I know a lot of you that live in California are thinking, you know what, we can't afford real estate in California. But it's all about affordability. It's all about affordability. So look at this affordability index. So, you know, so the affordability index, you know, the long and short of it is, if an affordability is at 100, it means that the average median income for a family is enough to support a median-sized home. So that's a point of equilibrium. If it's 120, that means it's affordable. If it's 140, it's affordable. If it's 60, it's not affordable. You know, Sunnyvale's not affordable. Look at that, 88. This was 64 affordability is this year, last year, 2014, 2013, 2012. Los Angeles metro area, a little bit more affordable, but look, just in the last couple of years, become less affordable. Albuquerque, as you can see, Albuquerque is very affordable. Phoenix, a neighboring community to us, as you can see, very affordable. But look at the outlying area of Los Angeles: Riverside, Ontario, San Bernardino. These are communities that are 35 to 50 miles away from Pasadena. Look at the affordability, very similar to what you find in Albuquerque or in Phoenix. So there's a principle there. The principle is look for the affordable area in your neck of the woods. So in Albuquerque, we have less affordable and more affordable areas. We have a little bedroom community attached to Albuquerque called...
Just go to 1245.
Okay. We have a bedroom community called Rio Rancho where homes are more affordable. It's about 35 miles away. Well, bedroom community is where you call it a bedroom community because you sleep there. You go there to sleep. That's where your bedroom is, and then you drive into town to work. Okay, bedroom community. The capital in New Mexico is Santa Fe. Santa Fe is really pricey. Santa Fe is maybe like LA. So there are people that actually work in Santa Fe and they live in Rio Rancho 35, 40 miles away. So regardless of where you are, regardless of the cost of real estate, you can find an affordable area. So I wanted to make that point because I understand the California market quite well. So anyway, there are a lot of ways to make money in real estate. For instance, I have a builder friend in Albuquerque that will pay you an 8% return on cash over a period of a year and a half, and he needs construction loans. Buddy of mine, I've known him for 25 years, and that's one way to make money in real estate. Another way is you can buy real estate contracts. What Sherry and Dave are doing, B&B. In their retirement years, they've decided to convert their home to bed and breakfast. Great idea. Actually, that's something my wife and I are thinking about as well. They can generate $100 a month, $100 a day, opening their doors to people who are in need of a place to stay. But I just want to talk about the simplest ways to make money in real estate. Purchase and owner-occupy your first home, multiply by 5. Purchase investment properties non-owner occupied with 25% down. And this is in stages of difficulty, degree of difficulty. Get your real estate license, find a partner, and flip properties. So first of all, I want to talk about the upsides and downsides of real estate investment. So when Paul and Ray talked about stocks and equities, they were absolutely correct. It's a much easier way to invest. And personally, I believe in diversification. So maybe half of our investments are in stocks and mutual funds, half our investments in real estate. But real estate's a whole different asset class. So one of the upsides of real estate investing is diversification. The other is cash flow. So those of us that are thinking about retirement, we have an end goal in terms of how much money do we want to have every month to live on. I mean, that's the goal, where you don't have to work, you got money coming in. So you can generate cash flow. There's a tax deduction. That's one of the upsides. Rents. One of the mistakes people make when they invest in real estate is they want the rents to be today where they're going to be in 5 or 10 years. So we bought, some properties 10, 12 years ago. Rents were $525. They're $800 now. So they're where I wanted them to be 10, 12 years ago. But it takes time for you to increase those rents. And in Albuquerque, you figure 2.5%, 3% increase annually. You have asset appreciation. So one of the problems with real estate investing is you don't have appreciation in some markets. Now, you guys out here have this amazing appreciation. You go to the East Coast, some of the Rust Belt cities, Hartford, Connecticut, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, over 10, 15 years, they have no appreciation. So one of the principles of investing in real estate, you don't just want income, you want appreciation, and find a market where you've got some appreciation. Now, the thing I love about real estate is you can leverage your money. And what that means is you can buy a $200,000 asset for no money down if you're a vet, 3.5% down on an FHA loan, 5% down on a conventional loan. Now, some people don't believe in debt, and I appreciate that viewpoint. My personal opinion is that there's good debt and there's bad debt. If you're putting stuff on credit cards at 15, 18, 25%, bad debt. You have a home mortgage on an asset that's going to appreciate in Albuquerque 2.5% to 3% a year, and it's you can manage that money, that's good debt. So you can buy, to buy $200,000 worth of stocks, you need cash, or you need to buy it on margin, which is something that, you'd never want to do. Real estate, you can buy a $200,000 asset for minimum money down. And then you can make tangible changes to increase the value and the rentability. Those are the upsides. Downsides are real estate is not liquid. Now, that's a good thing and a bad thing. So, if you have stocks, you can sell them today and they'll fund tomorrow or the next day. So they're liquid. You can get that money. Real estate, you can't get the money. And the good thing about that is you can't get the money. So, I know it hasn't always been easy for us to manage our real estate portfolio, but especially during the mortgage crisis. We bought 2 properties right at the height of the market, and then it tanked. And so we were upside down for a little bit, and we kept on, making it work, and now we're fine. And I'm tickled to death that I couldn't get the money out at that time because we may have been tempted to sell. Real estate is costly to buy, sell, and operate. So again, you need money to put down. It's going to cost you, 7-8% to sell. You've got broker fees, you pay for an appraisal, you pay for title insurance, you pay for a survey, you've got all these different costs. So there's costs associated with selling real estate. And you need an operation budget when you have rentals. So you figure, if you have a rental property, you figure 5% annually in terms of repair and maintenance. You figure 5%, whatever your income is, vacancy. I always suggest that you manage your properties yourself, because if you don't manage your properties yourself, you're going to pay a 8 to 10% property management fee. Over 10, 20 years, that's a nice chunk of cash. So you have costs to sell as well, or costs to operate. Real estate requires ongoing financial, property, and tenant management, over-leveraging your money, which is what millions of Americans bought during the top of the market, 2006 to 2008, including us. 2 of our properties we bought at the height of the market. There are millions of Americans today that are still upside down, which means they owe more on a property than what it's worth. But like Paul and Ray were talking about with stocks, if your strategy is buy and hold, you'll come out of that at some point. Purchasing too high and then failing to factor major repairs. So those are the downsides. So investing in real estate. 1, the easiest depending on the local market. Buy 1 property every 2 to 3 years with no money down. If you're a vet, you can get in for no money down. Actually, in New Mexico, we're the only state in the country that has a no money down first-time home buyer program. So you can get it. I've sold 100 first-time home buyers properties for no money down. And so they get into that asset and they need very little cash. They're leveraging their money very well. So, if you're a young person, yeah.
You say so the VA loan, you can only use it once, right? Or you can use it multiple times?
You only have 1 VA loan, but you can buy VA, sell, and if you free up your VA, you can use it again.
Free up your VA?
Yeah. So in other words, you can buy as many properties as you want using that VA that VA loan, but you can only have the VA loan on 1 property.
So you can do no money down multiple times.
Right, but you have to sell or refinance the property that you have with the VA loan. So for someone like you, you're a vet, you can buy no money down, you refinance that, and you can buy another one no money down. So, if you're a vet, no money down. If you live lucky enough to live in New Mexico, no money down. Otherwise, 3.5% down on an FHA loan or 5% down on a conventional loan. So my son Nate, he's 26, and he's already bought 3 properties using this strategy. So, and he's getting married in December, and at some point kids are going to come, and it's going to be harder and harder for him to pick up and move. But when you're young, right, single, you're a couple, no kids, you can pick up and move. You're setting yourself up for when you're 40 or when you're 50, you've got, a real estate portfolio. Now, one of the, and you know, there's fact and fiction. So I know a lot of people think, well, we need to save 20% to put down on a home because we want to avoid mortgage insurance. Okay, if the lens you look at investing through is I want to be debt-free and I want to have as little obligation as possible, I understand that. I respect that. But it's going to take you a long time to put together 20%. What I like to do is I like to buy properties with no money down, sit on them for a few years, refinance them, and then get rid of the mortgage insurance. So on an FHA loan, you can't get rid of the mortgage insurance. You know, good news of FHA is you can get in for 3.5% down. Bad news is if your loan exceeds 80% of the value of the home, you pay for what's called mortgage insurance. And on an FHA loan, you can't get rid of the mortgage insurance. On a conventional loan, you can. So after 10 or 12 years, you have 4 or 5 properties. Hold them long term. Goal is to pay them off, have positive cash flow. So in Albuquerque, you know, my son Nate's been buying $140,000, $150,000 properties, which are affordable in our market. You've got similar priced properties in your market regardless of where you are. If you look at your income, median income versus median price, he rents them for $1,000 a month. You know, when he pays those off, he'll have $5,000 income. But if we see rent appreciation over the next 10 years, it's going to be an extra 30%. So 5 times 30, another 15, so $6,500 a month. Okay, so if this is your first home, think. Consider minimum down even though you pay mortgage insurance. The other thing is, how many of you watch HGTV?
It's like storage wars. You're never going to find the fancy stuff. It's all junk that no one wants to keep in their home.
Yeah, it's like La La Land, HGTV. You know, if you're a first-time home buyer, you're not going to find a house like what you see on HGTV. You know, consider buying a home you can put some sweat equity into. Don't sacrifice location. So in real estate, you know, the principle in the past has always been location, location, location. That's a principle you need to be thinking about in the future as well. One mistake in our market, and I'm guessing what happens in our market is similar to what happens in other markets, is people watch HGTV, they think, I want that beautiful home like I see on HGTV. So they wind up buying in an area that's really not that good. So they sacrifice location for the sizzle. So, you know, one of the principles is always, always, always buy, you know, in a good part of town. And then the more you look, the more you know what you want. So these are some of the principles you need to be thinking about when you buy your first home. But it may be that the first home you look at is a perfect house. So don't be afraid to buy the first home you look at because sometimes that one is the best home for you. So this is first home. So, you know, this is the first home we purchased, 1986 or whatever. It was a mess. It was an absolute mess. My wife and I had Nate, our oldest was 6 months old. We moved into this house. I spent a week painting it. I was up until 1 or 2 in the morning. I had a job. I was up until 1 or 2 in the morning painting it. Had no landscaping in the front or the back. Corey learned about landscaping. I was digging trenches with a ditch witch in the backyard on the weekends, and then Nate would bring his friends over and they'd fill in the ditches during the week, and I'd have to go back on the weekend and retrench. But you know, this was our first home, and for many home buyers, this is the first home. You know, you have to put some sweat equity in it. So we paid $73,000 for that. We sold it, bought this other home, and actually we kept this as a rental for a while. And we made a little bit of money on it when we sold it. We moved out of it, made a little bit of money on it, and then we used that money to put, you know, to buy invest in some Roth IRAs and to invest in a stock portfolio. Okay, so that's the first way. The second way to invest in real estate is, you know, it's pretty easy, but it requires more money down. So go the conventional route by putting 20-25% down and investing in single-family residence or multi-unit properties. If you manage yourself, you will need lease agreements, credit, and criminal background checks, handyman contacts, a cash reserve for maintenance, repairs, vacancies, and so forth. So these are things that someone like I can help you with. So a lot of my clients, I have a whole group of small real estate investor clients, and one of the services I provide are rental agreements. I've got a list of contacts. You know, actually this morning I got a text from one of my tenants, and the refrigerator's not working. Well, I don't want to have to worry about that, so I've got an appliance guy. I texted him. I'm going to have him contact her and take care of that. So having an existing network, you know, of stucco people, roof people, electricians, whatnot is very, very helpful. And as you'll see later on, one of the things Jin Kwan and I are working on is trying to put together an investment group so that, you know, we can pool our resources and buy investment properties in markets where they make sense. So this is the second route. Now, you know, this is a little bit more difficult, but I think it makes a lot of sense. Get your real estate broker's license. And the reason is because, and you can, you know, I know a lot of people who get their license and they use it only for their own purchases. They don't practice real estate. But the value of getting your license is the standard commission for every listing is 6%. So I've bought, actually 5 of the properties that I bought are from clients. And they contact me to list their home. We try to sell it for a period of time, doesn't sell. I tell them, listen, I'll give you a full price offer. So it's a win for them. They get what they want. Now there's a 6% commission attached to the sale of that home. So if you buy a $200,000 home, 6%, that's $12,000 you can apply to the down payment that you can apply toward the purchase of that real estate. Where'd that money come from? Yeah, where'd it come from? Didn't come from the bank. Nobody bought, you know, it's like there. It's magic money. So, you know, especially you young guys, it's something to think about. So anyway, this is one of the things you younger folks might think about doing. In New Mexico, you have to take 60 hours. It's basically 3 classes that are 20 hours. So it'll take you 6 weeks to get your real estate license. The test is pretty difficult. Actually, 50% of the brokers have to take it 2 or 3 times. But once you get past the test, you've got a license. And there's a cost to maintain your license in any state, maybe $1,000 or $1,500 a month. But again, short term, if you're young, yeah, $1,500 a year to maintain your license. Did I say $1,500 a month? Whoa. Whoa. Yeah, so there's a cost to.
So what's the correct amount?
It's about $1,500 a year. Yeah, to maintain your license. You got monthly fees, all this stuff. So, yeah. So short term, if you want to buy properties, this is a strategy. So that's a win-win for the seller. It's a win for you as well. And if you get anybody into Breaking Bad? Anybody into Breaking Bad? Yeah. So if you get lucky, your real estate sign might show up on a episode of Breaking Bad. So I had the house during the final episodes of Breaking Bad. You remember when Walt was driving away with the car? This was my real estate sign. I had the house next door to Walt and Skyler's house for sale. So anyway, the other advantage of getting your real estate license, so our first investment was this cute little house. Looks good, wasn't in a good area. And I had a client who tried to sell it for 3 months. He said, Mark, I need out. So I took over payments. I just said, you leave, I'll take over payments. So we did a real estate contract on this house. We rented it for 3 or 4 years. I had no money into it. and this is only something you can do if you're, real estate licensee. You might get lucky if you're not a licensee and find an opportunity like this, but I see opportunities like this on a regular basis. So anyway, we bought this and then we sold it 3 or 4 years later, and then we bought these 2 properties in good areas. So I was able to fund the purchase of these 2 properties through the sale of that first property where we didn't need money to get into it. So again, this is another advantage of getting your real estate license. And then here's a couple of other properties we've bought from clients. This duplex on the right, when we bought it, this was our first investment that we bought in 2002. So I was 50 years old when we bought our first investment. The rents were $525. Now they're $800, and we'll have this paid off in, probably 7 to 10 years. I'm planning to retire at 70, because like a lot of you older unificationists, when we were 35, we had nothing. So we kind of started when we were 35, 37, 40 years old. So I always look at myself, even though I'm 62, from a financial viewpoint, I look at myself as being like 50, 47, something like that, the mindset. So anyway, when we have this paid off, this will generate probably $1,500 to $1,750 a month, and I'm hoping we can get 2 or 3 of these paid off by the time I retire. Again, income. So anyway, these numbers, the point is for us, 2 things. The magic money, we talked about if you get your license, we created $34,000 from that broker fee. And the goal is, depending on how many of these properties we get paid off, we'll have $2,980 to $5,580 a month cash flow when we're retired. That's in addition to Social Security, in addition to stock income, whatever. Okay, so fourth principle is find a partner. So this is one of the things that Jin Kwan and I have been working on, to try to create a partnership. Because real estate's a little bit more difficult to get into than stocks and mutual funds. Paul made a very good point. You can find a segment of your budget every month to invest in stocks and mutual funds. And if you do that religiously, you're going to see a benefit. Real estate's a little bit different. So, I told you about my son Nate. Actually, 2 of the properties that Nate bought, actually all 3 now that I think about it, because the first one was with me, but he formed a 50-50 partnership. And so the 50-50 partnership is he had a friend, they split 50-50 the down payment and closing costs, 50-50 vacancy and maintenance, 50-50 the net proceeds when they sell. So, you might think about a 50-50 partnership. Or you might think about a 25-25-25 partnership, split it 4 ways.
So do they take the rent they collect and put it back into the house, or into like a fund? They don't take out rent every month?
Well, you can do it one of 2 ways. One way is keep it in the account.
Right.
If you don't need the income right now, you keep it in the account. You keep it for maintenance, prospective vacancy, and you keep it to pay down the principal, because the goal is to pay it off. So I know for us, we add an extra $100, $150 a month every payment for all of our rentals. So fortunately, I don't need the income right now. So that's one strategy. The other strategy is if you need income now, then you can pull some cash out. But again, the goal...
That would come out in this situation 50-50.
Right. The income out would be 50-50, yeah. Yeah. But, again, the goal is once you're retired to have income, so you want to pay these down as aggressively as you can. So find a partner. And these are a couple of the properties that he bought with a partner. Both of these were the same thing, where, Nate actually has a real estate license, so these people were distressed and these people were distressed. And so this was his buddy. He tried to sell that house for 6 months, couldn't sell it. He said, listen, let's partner. So they partnered on that. They have a positive cash flow on that one. This was a distressed property, and they were going to foreclosure, so we were able to satisfy some of the debt on this and get him into that as his first house. Okay, so that's the fourth way to invest in real estate. The fifth way is to flip a home. And one of the things you need to understand is HGTV makes it look real easy, and the numbers that they talk about are just mind-boggling. They spend a month on a house and they make $85,000, and you're thinking, man, a month, if I could do 6 of those a year times 80,000, I'll make $500,000 flipping homes. But it's not that easy. It really isn't. Biggest challenge when you flip a home is having a team that can come in and get the work done quickly, because markets change. So in Albuquerque, for instance, we're in October right now. Our market was white hot January, February, March, April, May. It turned June, and it's okay now. But it's like the stock market. Stock market was down 10, 12. It's actually up now. Things move very quickly in both the stock market and the real estate market. Because real estate's not liquid, you need to sell when it's hot and you need to hold when it's not. So, flip a home, you need a good broker, like Jin Kwan says, a bird dog to identify and pencil out the possibilities. You need a remodel team that's ready to go. So, flipping a property, you want to have the work done in 30 to 60 days max, because most of the time you've got a loan on it. If you can pay cash, that's better, but you buy a $150,000 flip project, you need $150 cash. So a lot of times you put a loan on it, so you've got holding costs. You're making payments every month. You got interest, you've got property taxes, you've got homeowner insurance. You're making those payments, so you need to get it done quickly. If you can find an owner that will sell or finance for short term, that's best. You factor in overages and closing costs, and this is the number you need to know. Your net should be about 10 to 15%. So whatever you pay, minus your cost to sell, minus your repair costs, your net's going to be 10 to 15%, generally.
Is that cash on cash or the overall cost? The overall value of the property?
That is on the overall value, yeah. Okay, so finally, we're working on a real estate investment group, and if that's something you're interested, let us know. I want to encourage you to really work with Ray. I think Ray can help younger and older unificationists to build a healthy stock and equity portfolio. I think we can help you to build a healthy real estate portfolio as well. So diversify, be disciplined, find a segment of your budget every month that you can allocate to one kind of asset class, because that'll make it easier for us to retire and spend time with our grandkids. So thank you very much.